Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today this video is going to focus mainly on my overall goals of the weight loss journey and the health journey. So I mentioned in a previous video that I would do a separate video just on that, which is what I will do. However, before we get started, I will quickly recap the week that was. It was not my most successful week. I did not remember to have psyllium husk every day. I had 3 coffees on quite a few days instead of 2. I did not exercise 4 times or 3 times. I actually only exercised once. And my nutrition was a little bit all over the place. I was a bit disorganized. I had a few weird cravings. I was feeling quite tired. Yeah, it just did not flow well. It was a bit of an odd week. But not every week is going to be amazing. I am not going to hit my goals every single time, and that is completely fine. Following on from what I said last week in terms of individual meals and feeling like you've stuffed up, it's the same kind of concept. Just because you have an off week or an off day, in the scheme of things, it's not that big a deal. The other thing is I didn't binge. I didn't kind of go back into some old negative behaviors. It was just that I felt differently and I felt like different food and I was disorganized. So I was eating things that weren't as nutritionally sound as I would like and probably more calorie dense than I would like, but it wasn't in an uncontrolled binging way. It was just calm and appreciative. I really liked the food that I ate. It's now Sunday afternoon and I have been feeling extremely anxious all day, very bloated and quite tired and a little bit grumpy. And I also have cramps. So the week that was is now making a little bit more sense. I probably wasn't paying as much attention to my cycle as I could have. Not that that's all going to be blamed on my period, but it definitely has affected a few of my days recently, which again, it's fine. It's part of my life. It won't happen every month, but sometimes it just hits different. On Wednesday night, we had a function for Steve's work, which was amazing. Free alcohol, free food, part of the Brisbane festival. It was a great night, but it meant that Thursday I was quite tired, so I was craving a little bit more sugar and just ate a bit weirdly. On Saturday, instead of going for a walk, I FaceTimed some friends in Sydney, which was lovely, and drank some wine. And Sunday, instead of going for a walk, Steve and I went to a French patisserie in Brisbane, bought some croissants and some fresh bread. Then we bought some cheese and some salami and some rosé and some white wine, and that was our afternoon. And then on Friday night, we had pizza for dinner and some red wine. Saturday morning, I had pizza for breakfast and then had some leftover chicken palmy, had some donuts and some chocolate. And again, not in an uncontrolled bingey way, but that was just what I felt like eating, so I did. This week, obviously, I don't feel guilty about, but it has left me feeling less, I guess, good, for a lack of a better word. Not eating as many nutritionally sound meals, drinking a little bit more than I normally would. Not a crazy amount, but just more than I normally would. Probably too many coffees. Yeah, I'm feeling good in terms of this health journey as a whole so far, but I feel like I can do better, especially after the week that's just been. So next week's goals are to hit the 4 exercise sessions a week, to eat some more nutritionally sound meals, better planned meals, more variety as well. I will hit the psyllium husk every day, and I'm also introducing a new goal of foam rolling once a week. That has played a huge role in helping my discomfort, especially my lower back, and it just makes walking a lot easier and more pleasurable and sleeping a lot easier and more pleasurable. So yeah, that's what's going to be on the cards for next week. All right, so let's get into the main part of this video, which is the goals I have for my health journey as a whole. So let's start with the first one, most obvious one, which is my weight. I don't actually have a set number in mind or a set clothing size or set measurements. It's not a numerical value for me. I guess judging roughly by my size and the point I want to get to, I think it'll probably be about a 40 kilo weight loss. However, I'm not tied to that number. I don't care what the scales say. I don't care what my clothes say. For me, it's about feeling good and getting to a point where I'm reconnecting with myself again. And I don't know what that looks like in terms of a number, and that's okay. So I will just see how I go and monitor along the way. But it's obviously a huge part of this. So I don't mean to make it sound like the weight loss component of this is not important. It is hugely important, but it's more about how I feel and how I look to myself and how I connect with myself, as opposed to desperately trying to get to a number on the scales for no real reason other than to get to the number. The next one is fitness. Again, this is less so a certain point I want to get to in terms of an event I want to run or achieving something tangible. It's more so having the fitness to do everyday things that I love to improve my overall quality of life. So for example, I love yoga and I want to get back into doing yoga regularly. I really want to learn to surf eventually. I think that's more of a longer term goal, maybe in the next year or two. That's definitely something I want to do. I also absolutely love hiking. I love getting out into nature. Whether it be in Australia or whether that be overseas. And I guess that kind of ties into my travel goal, which I touched on in a previous video as well, about wanting to be able to travel and do those activities while I'm overseas. So hiking and cycling and seeing the world in a different way. So that's really important to me from a fitness perspective as well. One kind of set fitness goal I do have though is that I would love to be able to run 10 kilometers without stopping. I genuinely really like running. I haven't done it in a very long time because it's just not as enjoyable in my current body. So I'd love to be able to get to the 10K mark just to say that I can run 10Ks without stopping. So I guess that's more of a tangible goal that I will get to, and I will absolutely be sharing when I get to that point. The next goal, which is kind of related to fitness, but I'm categorizing it separately, is flexibility. And the goal there is, again, to improve my day-to-day life, but I also want to be able to do the splits both ways. And I have wanted to do that for years, and I am absolutely going to get there. So that's my flexibility goal. Again, kind of related, but I'm categorizing it separately, is mobility. So I feel that as I've gotten bigger and bigger, my mobility has definitely decreased to the point where just weird things, like everyday things that you do, become a little bit more difficult, and you don't necessarily notice until you go one day to do something and you're like, why can't I bend that way? Why won't my body allow me to be at that angle? So I would love to increase my mobility to enjoy everyday life and enable me to do some of the other goals I want to reach. For example, surfing. I am so stiff and so immobile that a large part of me not being able to surf properly at the moment is due to my range of motion. So that's what I would love to kind of improve. I also weirdly really want to be able to do a pistol squat. Don't know why, it just looks really cool, and I always look at people who do them and think, wow, your mobility is amazing, and it's just something I really want to do. So it's on the goal list. Next goal, gut health. I really want my gut health to be back on track. I have noticed a difference since starting this health journey that my digestive system is just not playing ball, and I don't know why, because I'm eating a lot better than I was, say, a month ago. So I was expecting it to get better, and it's just not happening. So I'm gonna try and really stick to the psyllium this week, as I said, and keep doing that for a while and see how we go. But if that doesn't make a difference, then I'll need to implement some other ways to help my gut. So getting to a point where I feel really good and I'm not bloating as much, and I feel better in my tummy most of the time. Obviously there's going to be some days where you don't feel great, and that's fine, but I'd rather that be less often. So that's one of my goals. Mental health is another goal which I have touched on before. I would like to reduce the severity and frequency of my anxiety and my anxious feelings and thoughts. And I think tied in with that is also mindfulness and being able to be more present in the moment more often. So those two are kind of linking together as mindfulness and mental health. I want my cholesterol back to normal. I have done blood tests many times before, and even since being overweight for a while, the only thing that's kind of out of whack is my cholesterol. So that's why I am specifically mentioning that. I want that down to a healthy range again. So that's more of a quantitative goal as well. Qualitative, a measurable goal. I've had a weird cough for, I want to say maybe 3 years, maybe not that long, 2.5 years. So I would like that to go away. And I believe that has a lot to do with being overweight and the inflammation that comes with that. And it is getting better, absolutely, but it's still not quite gone. So if this is weird, but if I'm laying down and laughing, it turns into this like awful coughing, spluttery mess. And when I do get sick, like a cold or something, it is more severe than it used to be years ago. So I want that nipped in the bud. Another goal is that I would like the weird discomfort I feel a lot of the time and my susceptibility to injury to decrease. Obviously everyone can be injured, but I'm definitely more prone to injury at the moment than I have been in the past. And I think working on flexibility and mobility and fitness is really going to help with that as well. I just want less aches and pains, and I want to be able to like reach for something in my cupboard and not pull a muscle in my neck, which is seemingly what happens at the moment quite a lot. And last but not least, I want to be able to dress in a way that is more me, more genuinely me. I really like clothes and fashion, and I haven't been able to fully enjoy that lately because I'm not connecting with the body that I'm currently in. And I know there's heaps of plus size fashion and heaps of ways you can dress nicely at all different sizes, and I totally get that. But when you're in a vessel, in a body that you just don't quite connect with, it's hard to dress the way you want to dress because it's not necessarily reflective of your style or who you are as a person. So I'm keen to really overhaul my wardrobe. And the idea is that all these goals coming together will enable me to live a life that's more closely aligned to my values and my passions. So I can go out and hike and get into nature. I can do yoga. I can run. I can dress the way that I want to dress. I'll have less aches and pains. My mental health will be in a better place. So again, I'm not saying that weight loss is the solution to happiness or that weight loss will solve all your problems. Absolutely not. But when it, in a more kind of bigger picture, wholesome way comes together, you end up leading a life that makes you happier. It makes you more content, and that's what I want. As this journey goes on, my goals might change. I might add more. I might hit some of those goals and then decide to kind of level up and change them around a little bit, but I will absolutely keep you guys updated on that. I know they're not specific or set to a certain timeline, which I believe in the goal setting world is crucial or something. I don't know. Honestly, I don't really care. I am not going to set goals that don't mean anything to me because it looks better on paper or because it gets more views on YouTube. For me, I don't care if running 10Ks takes me 6 months or if it takes me 2 years. I don't care if I lose 30 kilos instead of 40 kilos, but I actually feel so much better and want to stop at 30 kilos. I'm not gonna push on for the extra 10 just to say that I lost 40 kilos. I'm doing this for me and to live a better quality life and to be happier and to be able to do the things every day that I want to do. And that is the metric for me. That is what I'm aiming for, and as long as I'm heading in the right direction, that is all that matters. I'm finding that I'm feeling better and better each week, and that is kind of motivating me to want to do more and more and more. So it's this cumulative effect, like a snowball, but in the best way possible. So I'm really excited for next week to see what I can do and how I can level up and better myself. All right, guys, so that was a recap of the weird week that was and what I'm going to be doing next week in terms of me feeling a little bit more motivated and wanting to hit some more goals on the head, and also my long-term goals. So I think we are done for this week. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next Tuesday. I will see you next week on Tuesday.